Okay, people. So the pay-per-view kicks off with the early prelims, and we have three fighters making their debut. Man, yeah, two are coming off of the contender series, right? Yeah, you know, they all look like great fights, right? We start off with the ladies flyweights, right? So yeah, only the first of two flyweight fights on the card. Uh this be the ladies, and later on we got the men, but we have got Jasmine Jasudavicius against Kay Hansen. So man, Jasmine, she looked really good in a contender series fight against Julia Polistri. She really just took it to Polistri, right? You thought and the fight might get stopped, but you know what I mean, it went the decision. But yeah, Justaviovic looked very good. So she's 6-1, right, on a two-fight winning streak. Her only loss was a split decision. You know what I mean? So it was a close fight, right? It could have gone either way. But yeah, she looks a problem. She is going up against Kay Hansen, who is coming off a loss, but you know what I mean? Look, she's 10th planet. She has got skills, right? She was killing it in Invicta. And I do believe if she had stayed in Invicta longer, she'd be getting a title shot. You know what I mean? But came to the UFC and beat Jin Yufei, right? Got a triangle in the third round, and she was winning that fight all the way through. She looked really good in that fight. So that was very impressive. You know what I mean? Very impressive. Her next fight against Corey McKenna, I did think it was kind of close. It was a close one. So, you know what I mean? It was look, you're no one's gonna be happy with a loss, but she didn't get dominated. This one is interesting because although I do feel that fight against McKenna was close, she was getting hit, right? She was getting hit. And with the striking we saw from Jasdovajevic, that's going to be a problem, right? That's definitely going to be a problem. And I think that let me just double check, right? Because Jasdovajevic is a 68-inch reach and Hansen's a 63. Yeah. Jasdovajevic has got a 5-inch reach, right? She's also 5 inches taller as well. That's going to be a problem, man. Uh, Now, it all depends, right? It all depends on what version of Hansen we see. Because that Hansen who fought Jin Fei and was killing it in Invicta wasn't necessarily the one we saw against McKenna. But going off the last fight, which, you know, is so subjective, right? I'm gonna have to go with Jastovjevic. But Kate Hansen has all the skills to win that fight for sure. So we then jump up to the lightweight division, and we have got Gennaro Valadez against Matt Farola. So Ella Readato. I butchered that for sure. He is 10-0 on a 10-fight win streak. Whoo! I mean, that's impressive. That's impressive, right? I believe he trains with the champ. He trains with the champ. He comes out of that gym. Um, Yeah, he got a early second round stoppage on the Contender Series, beat Patrick White, right? Looked very good, very good. Um, and those 10 wins, I think they're all finishes, right? TKOs. He's got a couple of submissions up in there, but yeah, he is tough, tough. And most of the fights, he is finishing early. He's finishing those fights early. Now, he's going up against a Matt the Steamroller Fararola, who, you know, he's on a 2-fight skid, right? He's on a 2-fight skid at the moment. But Matt Fararola is tough as hell. You know what I mean? Look, he came to the UFC, right, off the 2017 Contender Series. You know, second round triangle over Luke Flores. He lost his debut against Polo Reyes, right? But then got a draw with Lando Venada, which, I mean, Venada is tough as hell. So that's impressive. He then got a decision over Jalen Turner. Hey, Turner has been looking great. So that's an impressive win. He got a split decision over Luis Pena. Pena started that fight really well, and Favola just took over. Right? So, pretty impressive. He lost, but it was a decision to Arman Chashagian. Right? He is tough too. You know what I mean? Now, the last time out, right, it was a quick loss to Terrence McKinney, but Terrence McKinney is a problem. He's a fucking problem, man. But I think it just showed Favola, he's been in there with some tough peoples. He's been in there with some tough peoples, and he's got some very good decisions, right? He's won by submission, he's won by TKO. Right? We know that he has got skills, right? We know he's got skills. So, you know what? I'm gonna go with Favola, right? Because he's been training at Lungo, Sarah, MMA. He's been doing that. And we know he's tough, right? He knows he doesn't want a third loss on the record. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Matt Favola for the win. So our next fight, we got the strawweights, right? We have got Silvana Juarez against Vanessa Demopoulos. And this it's an interesting fight, right? So they are both coming off losses in the last fight, right? Um, Juarez, she is 10-3. And the interesting thing, so she made her UFC debut. I do believe she was a late replacement, but she lost to Lapita Gudinez, right? Got caught with an armbar. These things happen. But yeah, before that, right, she'd won 3 fights, 1 decision, two stoppages. Her loss before that was against Ariana Lipski. And we know how tough Lipski is. You know what I mean? Her other loss was against Puliana Botelho. And we know how tough she is. You know what I mean? 2 UFC fighters. So there's no shame in that. No shame in that at all. And I say this is an interesting one because, um, Demopoulos, she's 6-4, coming off a loss herself, right? And that loss was her UFC debut to JJ Aldridge. You know what I mean? And she also lost to Lapida Gudinez in LFA at LFA 94. Gudinez beat her for the title. Right, it was a bit of a tough one, but she won the title at LFA 85, beat Sam Hughes, got an inverted triangle, right? She was losing the fight, but she's so tough. Hughes took her down, and Demopoulos just caught that inverted triangle. It was crazy. It was a crazy one. She then got to the Contender Series, lost to Corey McKenna, and then lost the belt the next fight. So that was very tough. But came back at LFA 103 and beat Cynthia Areco early in that first round. You know what I mean? Which got her to the UFC. But yeah, that's the thing, man. It gets tough. Gets tough when you're running in the top promotion, you know? So I think it's an interesting fight. Now, Demopoulos, she's got submissions, right? She's got submissions. She did compete in Medusa recently, won one, lost one, right? But she lost to Fatima Klein, and Klein, she's tough as shit. She is, I mean, she was very impressive. So yeah, this is an interesting fight, right? I do think that, you know what I mean? Julian Ayres, she's only lost to top people. And, you know, she's 10-3, right? Pretty impressive. I feel, you know, and she's coming from the champs gym as well. I think that everyone coming from that gym is gonna be on a vibe, right? Gonna be on a vibe. Brandon Moreno has really just inspired so many people. So yeah, I'm gonna say that Juliez, I think she's gonna get the win. You know what I mean? I think she's gonna get the win. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting, right? So from there, our last fight on the early prelims, we have got Simon Oliveira against Tony Gravely in the bantamweight division, and you know, Oliveira, he is 10-3 on a 5-fight win streak, right? And he is coming to the UFC via the Contender Series, right? He beat Jose Alday. It was a split decision, but yeah, got that contract, man. It was a good fight. Um, and yeah, you know, you look at his previous fights, he's got TKOs, he's got submissions. Yeah, he is. So yeah, he's got a good skill set. He does like a guillotine. Does like a guillotine, it would look like, right? So he is going up against Tony Gravely. Gravely is 21-7, coming off a loss, but you know what I mean? There is a difference in experience here. Gravely does like to wrestle. Which, I mean, going up against that guillotine, I mean, that is something, right? I think that's something we have to take into consideration. Gravely is also a Contender Series vet. He got to the UFC via the 2019 season. Lost to Brett Johns, but then won his next two. But then lost to Nate Manis. Got caught in the second, you know. But you know, I mean, Gravely is tough, man. It's a tough debut. It's definitely a tough debut, and I think I'm gonna go. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Gravely for the win. I think I'm gonna go with Gravely for the win, but boy, I mean it's a fun fight. It's definitely a fun fight, and yeah, good way to start this pay-per-view off, people.